Hello, dreamer, and welcome back to Dreamy Science Stories. I'm glad you're here. Wherever you are right now, you don't need to do anything at all. Just let your breath slow, let your thoughts soften, and allow the edges of the day to gently fade. Tonight, we're not exploring something far away or unreachable. We're stepping quietly into a forest. Not the forest we see with our eyes, but the one that exists beneath the soil, in the dark, where roots touch and threads of life drift silently from tree to tree. A forest does not think the way a single creature does. It does not make decisions in one place or speak with one voice. Instead, it listens everywhere at once. Through countless small connections, it becomes something larger than any tree could be alone. As we move slowly into this hidden network, you may begin to sense a presence, not awake, not asleep, but breathing, steady and patient, like a vast mind resting beneath layers of moss and time. And if these quiet journeys bring you comfort, if they help your mind unwind, or your thoughts drift a little more easily, you're warmly invited to gently like, share, or leave a soft comment below. It helps this calm space reach others too, one peaceful listener at a time. Now, let's begin listening to the forest. Beneath the quiet surface of the forest floor, where fallen leaves soften into soil and sound fades into stillness, an unseen architecture begins to reveal itself. It is not built upward like trunks and branches, but outward, sideways, and everywhere at once. Filaments, finer than human hair, slip between grains of earth, wrapping gently around roots as if learning their shape by touch. These are not passive threads. They are living pathways, and through them, the forest slowly becomes connected. Mycorrhizal fungi do not simply live beside trees. They enter into the roots, not as invaders, but as partners. At the tips of growing roots, fungal filaments form close contact, increasing the surface area through which the tree can interact with the soil. What the root alone could never reach, the fungus explores effortlessly, extending far beyond the immediate neighborhood of any single plant. In return for sugars created in sunlight, the fungus gathers nutrients scattered thinly through the ground, pulling nitrogen from decaying matter, phosphorus from mineral surfaces, and trace elements hidden in places roots cannot penetrate. This exchange does not occur as a single transaction. It flows continuously, like a slow current moving through a landscape without edges. Carbon leaves the canopy above, travels down the trunk, and dissolves into the underground network. Nutrients move upward along the same paths, not in pulses, but in steady gradients shaped by demand and availability. Nothing announces itself. Nothing stops and starts. The forest breathes through this system without ever needing to notice that it is doing so. What makes this network remarkable is not just its existence, but its reach. A single fungal web can connect multiple trees, even trees of different species. Birch and fir, oak and maple, young saplings and towering elders can all be woven into the same underground fabric. The fungus does not favor one over another. It responds only to chemistry, concentration, and flow. Where carbon is abundant, exchange increases. When nutrients are scarce, pathways thicken and extend, as though the soil itself were being gently searched. In shaded areas of the forest, where sunlight arrives weak and filtered. Young trees struggle to produce enough energy to sustain themselves. Their leaves work slowly, gathering what little light they can. Alone, they would falter. But they are not alone. Carbon begins to arrive from elsewhere, traveling through fungal threads from older trees that stand in brighter openings. The transfer is subtle, measured, and ongoing. No tree chooses to give. No tree chooses to receive. The network simply redistributes what already exists. These older trees, sometimes called mother trees by ecologists, are not leaders or controllers. They are hubs only because time and position have allowed them to gather more connections. Their roots extend wider. Their fungal partnerships are denser. And through these intersections, resources pass more easily. When a seedling emerges nearby, its first contact with the network often occurs through these established pathways, as though the forest were quietly welcoming it into a system that has long been in motion. Even trees under stress remain part of this flow. When disease reduces a tree's ability to photosynthesize, carbon movement towards it may slow, but it does not vanish entirely. Nutrients continue to arrive. Support persists. From the perspective of the network, maintaining weakened nodes can stabilize the structure as a whole. Removing them too quickly would create gaps, altering flows in unpredictable ways. Stability here is not about strength. It is about continuity. As seasons change, the network reshapes itself. In spring, when growth accelerates and moisture fills the soil, fungal activity increases. Filaments expand, connections multiply, and exchange intensifies. In summer dryness, some pathways thin, conserving energy, redirecting flow toward areas where roots still actively draw nutrients. Autumn brings another shift, as falling leaves enrich the soil, feeding the fungal web directly and altering the balance of exchange. Winter slows everything, but nothing truly stops. Even in cold soil, the network remains, waiting. Light, too, plays a role. A fallen tree opens a gap in the canopy, flooding the ground below with sunlight. Photosynthesis increases. Carbon availability rises. Underground, fungal growth responds, strengthening links around the newly productive roots. Over time, these shifts subtly reshape the forest above, guiding where growth flourishes and where it fades, without any instruction ever being given. There is no message sent through this system, no warning signal, no command. What exists instead is a field of influence, where every small change adjusts the gradients that guide flow. A root absorbing more nutrients slightly alters concentrations. A fungal filament encountering richer soil redirects growth. Countless microscopic adjustments overlap, forming patterns that persist long enough to shape the living landscape. If it were possible to see this network in motion, it might resemble a dim constellation beneath the ground. Nodes glowing softly where roots and fungi meet. Threads stretching and fading, thickening and thinning, as energy moves through them. Not like sparks or flashes, but like embers, steady and low. Light without brightness, motion without urgency. This is not communication in the way humans understand it. Nothing is said, nothing is received, and yet information moves, encoded not in symbols, but in chemistry, structure, and flow. The forest does not need to think about this network. It exists as the network, and within it, intelligence emerges quietly, distributed across thousands of connections that never draw attention to themselves. The intelligence of this system does not announce itself because it is never concentrated in one place. It is spread thin, like mist, present everywhere, yet impossible to grasp with a single touch. Each fungal filament responds only to what it encounters locally. A pocket of moisture, a gradient of nutrients, the chemical signature of a nearby root. And yet, taken together, these countless local responses shape the behavior of the entire forest in ways that appear coordinated, almost deliberate when viewed over time. The fungal network senses the soil not as a map, but as a field of conditions, where decomposition releases nitrogen from fallen leaves, filaments linger and branch, where minerals dissolve slowly from rock. Growth follows microscopic traces of phosphorus, inching along surfaces roots would never reach. These explorations are not random. They're guided by chemical cues that drift through the soil like faint scents, barely perceptible, yet persistent enough to steer growth across surprisingly large distances. As these filaments expand, they fuse with others of the same species, sharing cytoplasm, forming continuous channels through which resources can move with little resistance. In some forests, these fused networks can persist over decades, even centuries, outliving individual trees above them. Long after a trunk has fallen and its wood has softened into soil, the pathways it once fed into remain, carrying memory in their structure, not a memory of events, but of patterns, where nutrients tend to gather, where roots once thrived, where exchange proved stable enough to maintain. Carbon, once fixed from sunlight, becomes the primary currency moving through this system. It does not travel as a discrete package, labeled with intent. It diffuses, follows gradients, flows toward regions of lower concentration. When a tree produces more sugars than it needs, that surplus naturally enters the network, increasing carbon availability around its roots. Nearby trees connected through the same fungal web experience that shift immediately, not as information, but as opportunity. Their uptake increases, their metabolism adjusts, growth follows. Nitrogen and phosphorus move differently, bound tightly to soil particles or locked in organic matter. They require enzymatic work to become available. Fungi excel at this task. They release compounds that free these elements, then transport them internally to roots that can make use of them. In doing so, they do not deliver nutrients evenly. Delivery follows demand. Roots releasing certain chemical signals receive more. Roots already saturated receive less. Balance emerges not through planning, but through constraint. This balance allows trees of different species with different needs to coexist more closely than competition alone would permit. One tree may draw heavily on nitrogen, while another depends more on phosphorus. The network mediates these differences quietly, reducing direct conflict by expanding access rather than enforcing limits. In this way, diversity above ground is supported by cooperation below, though no organism involved is aware of the role it plays in maintaining it. The network also buffers fluctuation. A sudden drought does not affect all roots equally. Some reach deeper moisture, others dry quickly. As these differences arise, water and nutrients shift within the fungal web, softening extremes. not eliminating stress, but slowing its impact enough to allow adjustment. Growth rates change, leaf production slows, roots explore new paths, the forest bends rather than breaks, guided by the elasticity of its underground connections. Even time is experienced differently within this system. Rapid changes above ground unfold slowly below. A burst of sunlight following a storm sends an immediate pulse of carbon downward, but the redistribution of that energy unfolds over days or weeks. Fungal growth responds gradually, reinforcing pathways that prove useful, letting others fade. The result is a network that is always slightly out of sync with the present moment, anchored instead in recent history. This lag provides stability, preventing overreaction to brief conditions that might otherwise destabilize the system. In some regions, multiple fungal species overlap, each forming its own network with distinct properties. Some specialize in rapid nutrient transfer. Others excel at long-term storage. Roots often connect to more than one fungal partner at a time, creating layers of connectivity that further smooth resource flow. These overlapping networks do not compete aggressively. They coexist, partitioning function rather than territory, contributing different strengths to the same underground landscape. From within this layered system, the forest gains resilience not through redundancy alone, but through variation. When one fungal pathway falters, another may compensate. When conditions favor one species, its network expands, carrying the load until balance shifts again. The forest does not depend on a single solution. It maintains many, all partially active, all ready to become more important when circumstances change. If there is a rhythm to this process, it is slow and continuous, like breathing during deep sleep. Exchange never ceases, but it rarely surges. There is no peak moment when the network is most alive. Life here is distributed evenly across time, unfolding quietly beneath awareness. And because of this, the forest above can afford to be still, to appear calm, even when conditions are shifting below. Seen this way, the mycorrhizal network is not an accessory to the forest. It is its foundation. Trees do not simply stand on soil. They are suspended within a living mesh that gathers, stores, and reallocates the basic elements of life. What appears solid above ground is supported by something fluid and adaptive below, a structure that behaves less like infrastructure and more like circulation. There is no moment when this network pauses to evaluate itself, no assessment of success or failure. Its intelligence lies in persistence, in the way small adjustments accumulate into large-scale stability. It is an intelligence without symbols, without language, without intention, and yet it is effective. Quietly, reliably, it keeps the forest alive as a whole, even as individual trees come and go, rise and fall, in the slow turning of time. Within that quiet persistence, the network begins to resemble something less like a structure and more like a process that never fully completes. The fungal threads do not aim to build a final form. They only respond, extend, retract, and respond again, guided by conditions that are always shifting just slightly out of reach. In this way, the underground world avoids rigidity. Nothing is locked in place. Nothing depends on a single outcome. As roots grow, they release compounds into the soil, subtle chemical signatures that announce presence without intention. These signals alter fungal behavior, drawing filaments closer, encouraging contact. The closer the association, the more efficiently resources move. Over time, frequently used routes become reinforced, their walls thickening, their internal flow smoothing. Less useful paths gradually thin, not removed, but quieted, like trails no longer walked, yet still visible beneath fallen leaves. This reinforcement does not privilege speed. In fact, slowness is one of the system's greatest strengths. Nutrients move deliberately, buffered by storage within fungal tissue. Carbon can be held temporarily, released later when photosynthesis wanes. Phosphorus may accumulate in one region, then disperse slowly as roots draw upon it. This temporal spreading prevents sudden depletion and reduces vulnerability to abrupt change. The forest gains time to adjust, to settle, to remain whole. What emerges from this slow circulation is a shared metabolic space. Individual trees retain their boundaries, their identities, yet their internal processes are no longer entirely private. Energy becomes partially communal. Stress becomes distributed. Survival becomes less dependent on isolated success and more on collective balance. A storm that damages one canopy creates opportunity for another. A fallen tree feeds the soil, nourishing the very network that once sustained it. Death, in this system, is not an endpoint, but a transformation of flow. When a tree falls, its roots decay, releasing stored nutrients directly into the fungal web. Carbon locked in wood returns gradually through decomposition, feeding filaments that redirect it to living roots nearby. The network does not distinguish between living and dead sources. It responds only to availability, absorbing what is released, continuing its work uninterrupted. Because of this, the forest carries its past beneath the ground. Nutrients derived from trees that grew centuries ago may still be moving through the network today, diffused and redistributed countless times. In this sense, the fungal web acts as a memory without awareness, a persistence of matter shaped by long cycles rather than moments. What once stood tall becomes part of what now grows quietly. The scale of this system defies surface perception. A single square meter of forest soil can contain kilometers of fungal filaments, layered, intertwined, crossing and recrossing like faint traces of thought. These threads do not seek symmetry. They fill space wherever conditions allow, adapting their density to moisture, texture, and chemistry. The result is a living fabric whose complexity increases with age, becoming more resilient as it grows more intricate. And yet, despite this vastness, the network remains sensitive. A small change, a shift in pH, a slight alteration in moisture can redirect growth patterns over time. Sensitivity does not weaken the system, it refines it. By responding to subtle cues, the network avoids catastrophic shifts, adjusting early, quietly, before disruption becomes visible above ground. This sensitivity also allows the forest to synchronize loosely with its environment. Seasonal rhythms imprint themselves into the underground flow. Spring expansion, summer consolidation, autumn redistribution, winter conservation. These phases are not commanded. They emerge naturally as temperature, moisture, and light alter the gradients that guide movement. The network follows, not resisting change, not rushing it, but easing into each phase as it arrives. There is no moment when the forest decides to cooperate. Cooperation is simply the state that persists because it works. A tree disconnected from the network is weaker, less flexible, more vulnerable. A fungal web without living roots loses access to carbon and collapses. Mutual dependence shapes behavior without instruction. Structure emerges without design. From within this quiet exchange, intelligence takes on a different meaning. It is not foresight. It is not planning. It is the ability of a system to remain viable across changing conditions through continuous adjustment. In the forest, that ability is embedded in connections rather than commands, in flow rather than signal, in the soft persistence of threads that never need to be seen to matter. And so, beneath the silence of trunks and leaves, the mycorrhizal network continues its work, not speaking, not deciding, not leading, only maintaining the gentle circulation that allows the forest to exist not as many separate lives, but as one distributed whole, breathing slowly in the dark. It is this quiet continuity that allows the forest to function without ever needing to be aware of itself. The mycorrhizal network does not observe the trees it supports. It does not monitor outcomes or measure success. It simply persists, adjusting its internal flows as conditions drift from one state to another. In doing so, it removes the burden of survival from any single organism and spreads it thinly across the entire system. When rain falls, water seeps downward, dissolving minerals and carrying them into microscopic channels. Fungal filaments absorb this movement, redirecting nutrients toward roots that release the strongest chemical invitations. When drought returns, those same pathways contract, conserving moisture within living tissue. The forest does not react abruptly. It eases into change, guided by the slow physics of diffusion rather than urgency. This gradualism is essential. Rapid response would destabilize the network, creating sharp imbalances. Instead, mycorrhizal exchange smooths extremes, turning sudden abundance into stored potential and sudden scarcity into shared restraint. In this way, the underground system behaves less like a supply chain and more like a reservoir, absorbing fluctuation so that life above can remain calm. Over years, this buffering effect shapes the visible forest. Growth patterns become more even. Gaps fill without chaos. Competition softens into coexistence. What appears as harmony above ground is not the absence of struggle, but the quiet redistribution of its impact below. Stress is never eliminated. It is simply diluted. The intelligence here does not arise from awareness, but from repetition. Each season teaches the network which connections persist, which fade, which prove resilient. These lessons are not stored as data, but as structure. Pathways that survive continue, those that do not dissolve back into soil. The network learns without memory, adapts without intention. In this sense, the mycorrhizal web functions as a living probability field. It does not predict the future. It prepares for many futures at once. By maintaining a wide range of partially active connections, it ensures that when conditions shift, some pathways are already close to what is needed. Adjustment becomes a matter of emphasis rather than reinvention. And so, beneath the forest, intelligence exists, not as thought, but as balance in motion. not as communication, but as circulation, not as control, but as continuity. The trees above do not know this system sustains them. The fungi below do not know they sustain the forest. Knowledge is unnecessary where structure is sufficient. All that is required is connection. Threads touching roots, roots touching soil, soil holding water, minerals, memory. From these simple contacts, a vast, coherent system emerges, one that thinks without thinking, responds without reacting, and endures without ever needing to be seen. The forest stands quietly because beneath it, something else is always moving, always adjusting, always flowing. A network of living threads carrying the slow intelligence of survival through the dark, one shared breath at a time. As the underground network continues its quiet circulation, another pattern becomes visible, not through symmetry, but through imbalance. Resources do not spread outwards in equal measure. They move with preference. They gather, linger, and withdraw according to need rather than fairness. In the forest, distribution follows physiology, not principle. Every tree exists in a different internal state at any given moment. One may be flush with sugars after a season of clear light. Another may be depleted, shaded, injured, or recovering from stress. These internal conditions subtly alter the chemistry released by roots into the soil. Sugars, hormones, and signaling compounds leak outwards, changing concentrations around the root surface. The fungal network does not interpret these changes. It responds to them automatically, like fluid following pressure. When a tree produces more carbon than it can immediately use, that surplus does not remain idle. Concentration gradients form along its roots, and carbon begins to diffuse into connected fungal filaments. From there, it does not travel randomly. It moves toward regions where concentration is lower, toward roots that are drawing more than they can supply themselves. The result is a quiet redistribution that favors imbalance correction rather than equality. Trees that are physiologically strong often receive less from the network precisely because they require less. Their internal reserves dampen uptake. Roots saturated with nutrients release fewer chemical invitations. Fungal filaments passing nearby continue onward, carrying resources to where gradients remain steep. Nothing is withheld, nothing is denied. Flow simply follows the path of least resistance. In contrast, trees under stress alter their chemical output in ways that increase uptake. Drought, shade, damage, or disease shifts hormone levels within tissues. These changes propagate the outward through roots, subtly reshaping exchange at the fungal interface. Nutrient transfer toward these roots increases, not out of compassion, but because the system is tuned to efficiency. Supporting a weakened node can stabilize flows across the network, preventing larger disruptions that would cost more energy to correct later. This is why resource allocation in forests often appears uneven. Some trees accumulate more. Others persist on support they do not generate themselves. From a human perspective, this might resemble favoritism or sacrifice. From the network's perspective, it is simply load balancing. Energy moves toward where it preserves the greatest continuity of function. Timing plays an equally important role. A tree that needs support now may not need it later. Allocation is dynamic, adjusting hour by hour, season by season. During periods of rapid growth, saplings may draw heavily from the network, accelerating development while light remains scarce. As they mature and their own photosynthetic capacity increases, their uptake gradually declines. The flow does not stop abruptly. It tapers, easing the transition rather than enforcing independence. There is no baseline of enough, only thresholds defined by physiological state. A tree rich in nutrients today may become a donor tomorrow. A recipient one year may become a conduit the next. The network does not label roles. It responds continuously to shifting internal conditions, redistributing resources in a way that minimizes strain across the whole. This responsiveness extends beyond carbon. Nitrogen and phosphorus, essential for growth but often scarce, are allocated with similar sensitivity. Roots that actively synthesize proteins and nucleic acids draw more nitrogen. Roots preparing for dormancy draw less. Fungal filaments adjust transport accordingly, not by measurement, but through diffusion and uptake kinetics shaped by local demand. The effect resembles a body redirecting blood flow. Areas that require oxygen receive more. Areas at rest receive less. No decision is made. No fairness is considered. Balance emerges through constraint and responsiveness. The system works because it does not aim to be just. It aims to remain viable. In periods of abundance, this allocation prevents waste. Excess energy does not pool uselessly in a single organism. It spreads outward, supporting growth elsewhere. In periods of scarcity, it prevents collapse. Limited resources are not divided evenly until all fail together. They are concentrated where they sustain function longest. This principle becomes especially important during stress events. After storms, fires, or pest outbreaks, some trees are damaged, while others remain intact. The network shifts flow toward recovering individuals, stabilizing root systems, supporting regrowth. Trees beyond recovery gradually disengage as their internal gradients fade. Their stored resources return to the soil and network, redistributed without ceremony. There is no moral calculus in this process, no reward for strength, no punishment for weakness, only responsiveness to condition. What survives is not what takes the most, but what fits into the shifting balance of the whole. Seen over long timescales, this selective allocation shapes forest structure. Some individuals grow faster, others persist slowly. Diversity is maintained not by equal opportunity, but by unequal support timed to specific needs. The forest does not level outcomes, it preserves options. And beneath it all, the fungal network continues to modulate flow quietly, like water settling into low ground, like blood moving toward oxygen-poor tissue, like a body redistributing energy during sleep. Not fair, but precise. Not ethical, but effective. This precision becomes even clearer when the forest faces moments of limitation. During prolonged shade or extended dry periods, overall production drops, yet redistribution does not cease. Instead, flows narrow and concentrate, favoring tissues that can maintain core functions with minimal input. Growth slows first. Repair continues longer. Reproduction pauses quietly in the background. Network does not protect ambition. It protects persistence. Physiological state Not age or size determines priority. A large tree weakened by injury may draw more than a smaller, healthier neighbor. A sapling experiencing rapid cellular division may receive more nitrogen than a mature tree whose growth has stabilized. These differences shift continuously, minute by minute, as internal chemistry changes. The forest does not settle into hierarchy. It exists in constant rebalancing. Roots play an active role in this process, though not through intention. Their permeability changes with internal demand. Membranes open or restrict uptake based on hormonal signals tied to stress and growth. Fungal filaments, encountering these roots, respond automatically, releasing or retaining nutrients as diffusion allows. Allocation emerges from this microscopic negotiation, repeated millions of times across the soil. Because of this, no tree can hoard indefinitely. Excess draws redistribution. Deficit invites support. Stability arises not from control, but from limits imposed by physics and biology. Concentrations equalize just enough to prevent extremes, never fully flattening differences. The forest remains uneven, yet coherent. This unevenness is essential. If resources were divided equally at all times, many trees would fail during periods of stress. Equal sharing would dilute support, shortening survival across the board. By concentrating flow where it has the greatest stabilizing effect, the network extends overall viability. Some trees may suffer more, others persist longer. The forest endures. Over seasons, this pattern shapes memory into the landscape. Areas repeatedly shaded develop stronger underground support. Exposed areas rely more on direct production. The network adjusts subtly, reinforcing routes that frequently balance disparity. In this way, past conditions influence present flow without ever being recorded explicitly. Structure becomes history. The effect is most visible during recovery. After disturbance, regrowth does not occur evenly. Certain individuals rebound quickly, drawing heavily on shared reserves. Others lag behind, sustained at minimal levels until conditions improve. This staggered recovery prevents sudden spikes in demand that would destabilize the system. The forest heals in layers, not all at once. There is no finish line in this process. Allocation never resolves into equilibrium. It remains in motion, responding to light, moisture, damage, and decay. What appears balanced is only balanced for a moment. The next shift is already underway. Within this continuous adjustment, ethics have no place. There is no concept of deserving, only gradients, thresholds, and response. The forest does not protect individuals for their own sake. It maintains function where function can be maintained. When it cannot, resources move on. This does not produce cold efficiency. It produces resilience. By refusing to commit fully to any single configuration, the system preserves adaptability. Life persists not because it is treated equally, but because it is treated appropriately, moment by moment, according to need. The movement of resources through the forest is therefore less like distribution and more like circulation. Energy does not travel from a giver to receiver. It flows through a shared body, redirected constantly toward tissues that require support. In this sense, every tree participates in both giving and receiving, often without crossing a visible threshold between the two. As night settles and the forest appears still, this circulation continues. Sugars redistribute, nutrients adjust, gradients soften and sharpen in response to conditions no one observes. The forest does not sleep. It balances itself quietly, efficiently, without ever needing to be fair. And this quiet circulation reveals something subtle about survival that is easy to miss when looking only at the surface. Strength in the forest is not defined by accumulation. It is defined by flexibility. A tree that can release surplus without collapsing is more stable than one that guards every reserve. A system that allows flow is harder to break than one that insists on balance at all times. Because allocation is continuous, the forest never experiences true stillness. Even when growth slows and outward change becomes imperceptible, resources continue to slide through hidden gradients. Sugars shift from storage tissues into roots. Nitrogen migrates toward areas of cellular repair. Phosphorus redistributes as membranes open and close. These movements are small, but they never stop. Life persists in motion, not in rest. What makes this system especially resilient is that allocation does not depend on prediction. The forest does not need to know what conditions will come next. It does not store resources in anticipation of specific events. Instead, it maintains fluidity, allowing resources to be moved quickly when conditions change. Preparedness is achieved not through foresight, but through readiness to redirect. This readiness is supported by constant low-level exchange. Even trees that appear self-sufficient remain connected, allowing minor flows to pass through them. These flows keep pathways open, preventing isolation. When stress arrives suddenly, the roots already exist. Support does not need to be constructed. It only needs to increase. Over long periods, this creates a landscape where survival is collective without being uniform. Some individuals rise higher, others remain small but persistent. Loss occurs, but rarely all at once. The network absorbs shock by redistributing impact, ensuring that failure remains local rather than systemic. In this way, the forest avoids collapse not by avoiding imbalance, but by embracing it carefully. Imbalance becomes information. Where resources gather too tightly, flow increases outward. Where scarcity deepens, inward movement accelerates. The system remains poised between extremes, never settling, never rigid. The metaphors we reach for begin to converge. Like water, resources find low ground. Like blood, they move toward oxygen-poor tissue. Like a sleeping body, the forest reallocates energy without waking, without awareness, without effort. These are not comparisons imposed from outside. They are reflections of the same underlying logic: circulation as survival. And because this logic is embedded in structure rather than decision, it persists across timescales far beyond any individual life. Trees grow, age, and fall. The allocation pattern remains. Resources once held by one organism move on to support another. Nothing is lost. It is only transformed, slowed, redirected. By the time morning light filters through leaves again, the forest above appears unchanged. Trunks stand where they stood before. Branches reach where they reached yesterday. Yet beneath them, the distribution has already shifted, responding to 1,000 small internal signals no eye can see. This is how the forest sustains itself, not through fairness, not through equality, but through a quiet, continuous wisdom that places resources where they are needed most, when they are needed most, and moves on when that need has passed. Not kind, not cruel, simply effective. And in that effectiveness, the forest remains alive, balanced not by stillness, but by flow. As resources continue to move without command, another property of the forest quietly reveals itself. No signal ever arrives from above, telling roots where to grow or fungi where to send their flow. No instruction descends from a central source, and yet the system behaves as though choices are being made. Paths strengthen, directions shift, patterns emerge. The forest appears to decide, even though nothing within it is capable of decision on its own. There is no leader hidden beneath the soil, no ancient tree issuing guidance, no fungal core acting as a brain. Each organism responds only to its immediate surroundings. The chemistry at a root tip, the moisture of nearby soil, the availability of nutrients within reach. These responses are small, almost insignificant in isolation. A filament grows a little faster here. A root thickens slightly there. A transfer slows. Another accelerates, alone. None of these changes mean anything. Together, they accumulate. Decision-making in the forest does not occur at a single moment. It unfolds gradually as countless micro-adjustments begin to align. When conditions favor one direction over another, more roots grow that way. More filaments reinforce those paths. Flow increases. What looks like a choice is simply the amplification of local tendencies repeated across the network. This is why change in the forest rarely feels abrupt. Even when environments shift suddenly, responses propagate slowly. A dry patch of soil does not cause an instant reroute of resources. Instead, roots encountering stress alter their behavior. Fungal growth near them changes. Nearby flows adjust slightly. Over time, these adjustments spread outward, influencing distant connections that were never directly affected by the original change. In this way, influence moves through the network like a wave through water, not all at once, but gradually, losing sharp edges as it travels. By the time it reaches far nodes, it has softened into a general trend rather than a directive. The forest avoids shock by allowing time to blur response. This decentralized process means that even a single weakened tree can alter the behavior of the whole system. When one node changes state, producing fewer sugars, releasing different chemicals, the gradients around it shift. Nearby flows adjust. Those adjustments alter neighboring gradients. Slowly, the effect ripples outward, subtly reshaping the distribution of growth and exchange across the forest floor. The tree does not intend this influence. It does not broadcast distress. Its altered physiology is enough. The network responds not to meaning, but to difference. Difference creates motion. Motion creates pattern. The same principle governs expansion. When a new opening appears in the canopy, light increases. Photosynthesis rises. Carbon flow increases locally. Roots grow more actively. Fungal filaments follow. Over time, these changes bias the network toward the new conditions, drawing more resources into the area. The forest appears to choose to grow there, though no part of it recognizes the opening as an opportunity. The pattern emerges because conditions align, not because they are interpreted. This mode of intelligence resembles swarm behavior seen in animals, where no individual knows the plan, yet coordinated movement emerges. A flock of birds changes direction without a leader. Each bird responds to the movement of its neighbors. Over time, coherence appears. The forest behaves similarly, but on a slower scale, its movements stretched across weeks and seasons instead of seconds. Ant colonies provide another quiet parallel. No ant understands the colony's architecture, yet complex structures arise through simple rules applied locally. The forest's underground network follows comparable logic. Each root and filament obeys basic constraints. Grow where conditions permit. Exchange where gradients allow. Withdraw where costs exceed benefit. From these constraints, complexity unfolds. Because there is no center, there is also no single point of failure. Disruption does not cripple the system, it alters it. When a section of the network is damaged, flows reroute gradually, guided by remaining connections. Recovery is uneven but ongoing. The forest does not rebuild what was lost. It reorganizes around absence. This absence itself becomes informative. Gaps change gradients. Missing roots no longer draw resources. Filaments adjust. Over time, the network incorporates loss into its structure, reshaping future behavior around what is no longer there. Decision-making here includes forgetting, not as erasure, but as adaptation. What we call intelligence in this context is not foresight or reasoning. It is pattern recognition embedded in structure. The forest does not analyze situations. It embodies responses that have proven stable over time. When conditions resemble past states, familiar patterns re-emerge. When they differ, new configurations slowly form. These configurations are never final. They persist only as long as conditions support them. When circumstances shift, the patterns loosen, rearrange, and dissolve. Intelligence here is not stored. It is enacted continuously. From within the system, nothing feels coordinated. There is no awareness of coherence. Roots grow, filaments branch, exchange continues. And yet from above, the forest behaves as a unified entity, adjusting to change with a consistency that suggests intention. This illusion of intention arises because decentralized systems smooth extremes. They dampen noise. They favor persistence over precision. By avoiding rapid, centralized response, the forest reduces the risk of overcorrection. It remains stable not by reacting quickly, but by responding slowly everywhere at once. Like thoughts that surface only after the mind has relaxed into sleep, the forest's decisions emerge without effort. No moment marks their arrival. They simply become visible once they are already underway. This slow emergence of direction is what allows the forest to remain adaptable without ever becoming chaotic. Because no single interaction carries authority, change must pass through many layers before it reshapes the whole. Each layer softens it slightly, filtering sharp impulses into gradual trends. What finally emerges is not a reaction, but a shift in tendency. When conditions deteriorate in one region, growth there does not halt abruptly. Roots reduce extension. Fungal filaments redirect incrementally. Exchange weakens, but does not vanish. Meanwhile, adjacent areas experience subtle increases in activity as gradients rebalance. The forest does not abandon one place for another. It reweights its attention slowly, quietly, across space. This reweighting can begin with something almost invisible. A minor injury to a root, a slight drop in moisture, a change in microbial activity altering soil chemistry. Any one of these could be dismissed as noise. Yet, when repeated across many nodes, they begin to align. Local responses overlap. A direction forms not because it was chosen, but because alternatives faded. In this way, the forest avoids commitment. It does not lock itself into a single strategy. It keeps many possibilities partially active, allowing influence to accumulate where conditions continue to favor it. If those conditions reverse, the accumulation dissolves just as quietly. Nothing resists, nothing insists. The absence of a central controller also means that timing is distributed. Some parts of the network respond earlier, others lag behind. This staggered response prevents synchronized failure. When stress propagates, it encounters regions already adjusting and others still stable, creating buffers that absorb impact. The forest does not move as one mass, it ripples. Because decisions emerge through repetition, they are inherently conservative. A single anomaly rarely changes the system. It must persist, recur, or intensify to leave a lasting imprint. This protects the forest from reacting to fleeting disturbances, a brief drought, a passing shadow, a short-lived surge of nutrients. Only sustained patterns reshape the network. This conservatism can appear as slowness, yet it is precisely this slowness that grants endurance. Fast systems adapt quickly, but break easily. Slow systems adapt quietly and remain. The forest belongs to the latter. Its intelligence is patient enough to wait out uncertainty. Over time, these distributed decisions sculpt the visible structure of the forest. Tree density shifts. Species composition changes gradually. Growth favors certain corridors, leaving others sparse. From a distance, the forest appears to have preferences, even intentions. In truth, it has tendencies reinforced by countless small interactions that align over long spans of time. What is remarkable is that no individual organism experiences the whole. Each tree encounters only its immediate neighborhood. Each fungal filament senses only local gradients. Yet the resulting behavior extends far beyond local scale. Decisions that no part understands, nonetheless, guide the system as a whole. This is the paradox of decentralized intelligence. Understanding is unnecessary. Awareness is irrelevant. All that matters is interaction. When interaction follows consistent constraints, coherence emerges naturally. As night deepens and surface activity quiets, this process continues unseen. Roots adjust growth angles. Filaments branch or retract by microscopic distances. Exchange rates drift. The forest direction tomorrow is already forming, shaped by conditions Today, though no moment will mark its beginning, there is no signal that says now, no threshold crossed. The forest simply becomes slightly different than it was before, and in that difference lies its decision. Like a murmuration shifting shape without command, like an ant colony expanding without plan, like a thought forming only after the mind has let go, the forest thinks without thinking, guided not by control, but by pattern, not by choice, but by emergence. This is how intelligence persists without a brain. Because no single part ever oversees the whole, the forest remains free from certainty. It never commits fully to one outcome. It hovers instead in a state of readiness, where many futures remain possible until conditions narrow them gently into form. This uncertainty is not a weakness, it is a form of protection. In systems with centralized control, decisions must be made quickly and enforced broadly. Errors propagate fast. In the forest, uncertainty spreads slowly. Small mistakes dissolve before they matter. A root that grows in an unhelpful direction wastes little energy before conditions redirect it. A filament that explores poor soil retracts quietly. Failure remains local, contained, absorbed without consequence. This containment allows experimentation without risk. The forest can try many small variations at once, letting only those aligned with persistent conditions continue. Growth becomes a form of testing. Retraction becomes feedback. Over time, what remains is not the best possible arrangement, but one that works well enough across many uncertainties. Because of this, intelligence in the forest is statistical rather than exact. It does not aim for optimal solutions. It settles into patterns that survive variability. Precision would demand control. The forest prefers tolerance. This tolerance allows influence to travel backward as well as forward. A change at the periphery can eventually reshape the center. A minor shift in soil chemistry at the edge of the forest can, over seasons, alter dominant growth patterns deeper within. No region is privileged. Importance emerges from persistence, not position. In moments of widespread stress, this decentralization becomes especially visible. When conditions deteriorate broadly, prolonged drought, extreme cold, the forest does not collapse into a single response. Some areas slow almost to stillness. Others remain active longer. Some species retreat. Others endure. Diversity in response becomes the system's strength. No signal coordinates this diversity. It arises naturally because different nodes experience stress differently. What looks like disorganization is actually distribution. Impact is spread unevenly so that survival remains possible somewhere, always. Over long timescales, this creates forests that feel ancient and deliberate, as though shaped by intention. But intention implies foresight. What the forest possesses, instead, is continuity. It does not move toward a goal. It remains in motion around constraints. Even succession, the gradual change in species composition over decades, follows this logic. No phase replaces another by decree. Shifts occur as interactions slowly favor new patterns. Old ones fade as conditions drift. The forest does not decide to become something else. It simply becomes less able to remain what it was. Within this quiet transformation, individual trees live out their entire lives without ever influencing the forest alone. Their influence arises only through interaction, through how their presence alters gradients, blocks light, changes soil, feeds the network. Identity dissolves into effect, and effect accumulates. What no tree can do intentionally, many can do unintentionally together. Over time, their combined influence reshapes the landscape, steering the forest without steering. This is why the forest's intelligence feels distant, almost dreamlike. It does not operate at the scale of moments or choices. It unfolds across durations longer than attention can hold. By the time a pattern becomes visible, it has already been forming for years. Like a thought that arrives only after the mind has gone quiet, the forest decisions surface only after conditions have aligned deeply enough to make alternatives fade. No announcement marks their arrival. They simply become undeniable. And so, beneath the canopy, beneath the soil, beneath even the idea of intention, the forest continues to think without a brain, not by commanding, not by choosing, but by allowing patterns to emerge, persist, and gently guide the whole through time. The intelligence is not in any tree. It is not in the network itself. It is in the space between, where countless small interactions overlap, blur, and quietly become one. At times, the forest is wounded. A tree falls, a root snaps. Sections of soil dries, burns, or erodes. Connections are broken, threads severed, pathways interrupted. And yet the forest does not collapse inward. It loosens, adjusts, and continues, bearing the mark of damage without surrendering its coherence. The underground network is not built around a single route. It does not rely on one primary channel through which all exchange must pass. Instead, it is woven with redundancy, overlapping paths, parallel connections, alternate routes waiting quietly beneath the surface. When one link fails, flow does not stop. It detours. A broken filament does not send an alarm. There is no signal announcing loss. The effect is local at first, a slight reduction in exchange, a subtle shift in gradients. Nearby filaments respond by thickening, branching, or extending toward adjacent roots. Over time, these adjustments create new routes, restoring circulation through different paths. The original connection is not repaired, it is replaced. This ability to reroute is what allows the network to absorb damage without amplifying it. Stress does not radiate outward unchecked. It is contained, diluted by alternative pathways that carry part of the load. Where one route once bore the weight, several now share it. The system becomes less efficient in the short term, but more stable in the long run. Biological redundancy is often mistaken for waste. Multiple connections serving similar functions can appear unnecessary when conditions are ideal. But in fluctuating environments, redundancy becomes protection. It ensures that failure remains partial. The forest does not gamble everything on a single solution. This is especially clear after localized disturbances. When soil is compacted, flooded, or stripped of nutrients, fungal growth in that region slows or retracts. Exchange diminishes. But surrounding areas do not freeze. They compensate. Resources shift along surviving routes. bypassing the damaged zone. Over time, new growth may reclaim the area, or it may remain sparse. Either outcome is absorbed into the network structure. The network does not restore itself to a previous state. It does not aim to return to what was. Instead, it incorporates damage into a new configuration. Broken connections become boundaries. Gaps become filters. The memory of disturbance is written into structure, not stored as information, but embedded in altered pathways. In this way, the forest learns without learning. Each disruption reshapes the network slightly, leaving behind a configuration better suited to withstand similar stress in the future. Pathways that fail repeatedly are gradually abandoned. Those that persist under strain become reinforced. Over decades, this quiet selection builds resilience, not by prediction, but by accumulation. Older forests tend to embody this process more deeply. With time, their networks grow denser, more layered, more interconnected. Multiple generations of roots and fungi overlap, creating a thick mesh where loss of any single connection has minimal impact. Young forests, by contrast, rely on fewer pathways. Their networks are simpler, more direct, and therefore more vulnerable to sudden disruption. This difference is not visible above ground. Both forests may appear healthy, upright, complete, but beneath the soil, their architectures tell different stories. One carries the scars of many disturbances, integrated and softened over time. The other has yet to experience enough stress to develop such complexity. When disruption occurs in an older forest, response is slower but steadier. Change unfolds without panic. In younger systems, shifts can be sharper, more uneven, as fewer alternatives exist. Resilience here is not a trait assigned at birth. It is built gradually through repeated exposure to breakage that does not destroy. The logic of this resilience resembles that of decentralized digital networks. The internet was not designed to rely on a single hub. Data packets find alternate routes when servers fail. The system degrades gracefully rather than collapsing. Similarly, the forest network tolerates partial loss, maintaining function even as structure changes. There is also a resemblance to neural systems. The brain does not store function in one neuron. When pathways are damaged, others adapt, rerouting signals, redistributing activity. Recovery is imperfect but possible. The system survives by spreading responsibility across many connections. In the forest, this spreading happens without awareness. No part knows it is compensating. Adjustment emerges from physical constraints, diffusion, growth rates, chemical gradients. The result is a system that can be injured repeatedly without losing its ability to function as a whole. Even when large sections are removed, collapse is rare. The network contracts, then reorganizes around absence. Exchange continues where it can. Life persists unevenly, but persist it does. What remains becomes the foundation for what follows. This capacity to break without falling apart is not dramatic. It unfolds slowly, almost invisibly. There is no moment of crisis, no sudden recovery, only continuous rearrangement, guided by the simple fact that connections exist in more than one place. And because of that multiplicity, the forest endures, not unscarred, not unchanged, but still connected enough to carry life forward through whatever remains. And over longer spans of time, this quiet reorganization becomes the forest's most reliable defense. Not resistance, but accommodation. Damage is not opposed. It is absorbed, redirected, diluted across a structure designed to bend without tearing completely apart. When multiple disruptions occur close together, storms followed by drought, fire followed by erosion, the network does not attempt to compensate for everything at once. It responds unevenly. Some regions recover quickly, others remain thin, sparse, or dormant for years. This uneven recovery is not failure, it is triage without awareness, a way of allowing limited resources to maintain continuity where it is still possible. In these moments, redundancy becomes visible not as duplication, but as slack. Extra connections that once seemed unnecessary now carry load. Paths that were rarely used become essential. The forest survives not because it planned for disaster, but because it never optimized itself too tightly for any single condition. Optimization would make it brittle. Efficiency would remove alternatives. Instead, the network tolerates inefficiency in exchange for durability. Energy takes longer routes. Nutrients move through indirect paths. Growth slows, but collapse is avoided. This tolerance for inefficiency also explains why recovery rarely restores exact symmetry. After damage, the network does not rebuild the same pattern. It builds a different one that works under new constraints. Old roots may never return. New ones may persist even after conditions improve. The forest carries forward the shape of what it has endured. Over time, these accumulated adjustments give older forests a distinct stability. Their underground networks are layered with history, remnants of past roots, fungal pathways grown thick through repetition, zones that have failed and been bypassed many times before. Each layer adds resilience by increasing the number of ways flow can continue. Young forests lack this depth. Their networks are simpler, faster, more direct. Growth is rapid. Exchange is efficient. But when disruption occurs, there are fewer alternatives. Recovery is sharper, more chaotic, more vulnerable to cascading loss. Stability has not yet been earned. Resilience, then, is not a static property. It is a consequence of surviving breakage. Each wound that does not destroy the system becomes part of its strength. The network does not remember trauma emotionally. It remembers structurally. In this sense, the forest does not heal by returning to wholeness. It heals by redefining wholeness. What remains connected becomes sufficient. What is lost becomes boundary. The pattern echoes systems far removed from soil and roots. In digital networks, packets reroute when servers fail. In neural tissue, signals find alternate pathways when damage interrupts familiar circuits. In dreams, thought fragments rearrange without linear order, maintaining continuity even as narrative dissolves. These systems persist because they are not bound to a single path. The forest's resilience shares this logic. It is non-linear. Recovery does not proceed step by step. It spreads irregularly, finding routes of least resistance, settling into configurations that are good enough rather than perfect. There is no master plan guiding repair. There is only the gradual re-establishment of circulation. Circulation here is the measure of survival. As long as something moves, nutrients, energy, growth, the system remains alive. Complete restoration is unnecessary. Movement is enough. This is why even heavily damaged forests often retain a sense of coherence. The canopy may be broken, the soil disturbed, species composition altered. Yet beneath, the network persists in fragments, reconnecting what can still be connected, sustaining what can still function. Life continues unevenly, but continuously. Over decades, these fragments may coalesce into new structures, or they may remain sparse, supporting a different kind of ecosystem altogether. Resilience does not guarantee recovery to a previous state. It guarantees only that collapse is not absolute. In this way, the forest embodies a form of strength that does not resist fracture, but expects it. Breakage is assumed. Continuity is maintained through flexibility rather than force. There is no moment when the network becomes resilient. It grows into resilience slowly, through repeated interruption and quiet adaptation. Each reroute leaves behind a slightly more distributed structure. Each loss teaches the system how not to depend too heavily on what can be lost. And so, when connections break, and they will, the forest does not fall silent. It grows quieter in some places, busier in others. Flow shifts. Balance re-emerges in a new form. This is what it means to break without collapsing. Not to remain intact, but to remain connected enough. And in that enough, the forest continues, altered, scarred, resilient, carrying life forward through whatever paths remain open beneath the dark. As resilience settles into the forest, like a quiet after-image, another quality begins to reveal itself, not in motion, not in exchange, but in shape. Beneath the soil, the network is not random. It has geometry, not the rigid geometry of straight lines and fixed grids, but a living geometry that repeats, bends, and scales with its surroundings. The forest's network grows in patterns that echo themselves at different sizes. Small branching filaments resemble larger branching roots. Root systems mirror the spread of entire groves. This self-similarity is not planned. It emerges because the same simple constraints apply everywhere. Grow where conditions allow. Branch when flow increases. Retract where resistance rises. Over time, these rules generate fractal forms, shapes that look familiar no matter how closely or how distantly they are viewed. In these fractal connections, there is no preferred scale. A pathway that carries nutrients between two roots follows the same logic as one that connects entire clusters of trees. The difference is not in design, but in accumulation. Repetition builds structure. What begins as a single thread becomes a branch. Branches overlap. Overlap becomes a mesh. Within this mesh, some nodes become more connected than others. These are not chosen. They emerge where roots have had time to expand, where conditions have remained favorable across many seasons. Older trees with wide root systems and long-standing fungal partnerships naturally become hubs, not leaders, but intersections, places where many pathways cross. These hub nodes do not control flow, they facilitate it. Their density of connections reduces resistance, allowing resources to move more easily through them. When conditions change, flow passes through these hubs, not because it is directed there, but because it encounters less friction. Over time, this reinforces their role, thickening pathways, strengthening exchange. Around these hubs lie peripheral nodes, young trees, recent seedlings, transient roots. Their connections are fewer, lighter, more tentative. They do not anchor the network, they test it. Their presence introduces variability, allowing the system to explore new configurations without destabilizing the core. Some will grow into hubs over decades. Others will fade quietly, leaving little trace. This contrast between dense centers and delicate edges gives the network its flexibility. Stability arises not from uniformity, but from variation in connection strength. The forest does not distribute structure evenly. It allows concentration where time has proven reliability, and lightness where change is still unfolding. Topology shifts with the land itself. On slopes, roots grow asymmetrically, following gravity and moisture. Networks stretch downhill, compress uphill. In valleys, connections spread wide, branching generously where water lingers. On ridges, they narrow, conserving energy where soil is thin and dry. The geometry of the network mirrors the geometry of the terrain, adapting its shape to contours it never sees. Soil composition further sculpts the pattern. Dense clay encourages shallow, lateral growth. Sandy soils invite deeper, more exploratory branching. Rocky ground fragments pathways, forcing detours that increase redundancy. Each substrate leaves its imprint on the network, shaping how connections form, persist, or dissolve. Time adds another dimension. The network you would see today is not the one that existed a decade ago. Paths have shifted. Hubs have strengthened or weakened. Entire sections have vanished, replaced by others elsewhere. Topology is not fixed. It drifts, guided by growth, decay, disturbance, and recovery. Some patterns endure longer than others. Major hubs persist across generations, even as individual trees come and go. Their position reflects stable features: water availability, soil depth, light patterns that change slowly. Peripheral connections, by contrast, turn over rapidly. They form and dissolve with seasons, responding to short-term conditions. This layered timescale gives the network depth. Long-term structure provides continuity. Short-term variation provides adaptability. Together, they create a geometry that is neither rigid nor chaotic, but softly organized like breath. The resemblance to lungs is not accidental. In both systems, branching increases surface area, facilitating exchange. Air moves through bronchi into finer passages, diffusing into tissue. Nutrients move through roots into filaments, diffusing into cells. Both rely on repetition of form across scales. Both remain flexible, expanding and contracting in response to demand. The network also resembles a river system viewed from above. Small streams merge into larger ones, then divide again, redistributing flow across a landscape. No single channel defines the whole. Water finds its way through many routes, shaped by terrain, slowed by obstacles, redirected by subtle gradients. Over time, the pattern stabilizes, not because it is fixed, but because it responds reliably. In the forest, flow follows similar principles. When one path becomes congested or blocked, others carry the current. When demand increases, branching multiplies. When demand fades, channels shrink. The shape of the network is always slightly behind the present moment, carrying the imprint of what has recently mattered most. There is also music in this structure. Not sound, but rhythm. Repetition without exact duplication. Variation within constraint. Patterns that return, altered by context. The network composes itself continuously, without a score, without a conductor. What emerges is coherence rather than harmony, a quiet alignment of many independent movements. This coherence does not require symmetry. In fact, symmetry would weaken it. Perfect balance would reduce options. The forest prefers irregularity, uneven spacing, asymmetrical branching. These imperfections create flexibility, allowing the network to absorb change without tearing. As the forest ages, its topology becomes more intricate. Layers accumulate. Overlapping generations of roots and fungi create a dense weave where old paths persist beneath new ones. This complexity increases resilience, but also subtlety. Change becomes slower, more distributed, less visible. The forest gains inertia without rigidity. Young forests, by contrast, exhibit simpler patterns, fewer hubs, straighter paths, faster turnover. Their networks are more responsive, but also more fragile. Geometry here is provisional, still being tested against conditions that have not yet settled. Neither state is superior. Each reflects a different moment in the forest's unfolding. Topology is not destiny. It is a snapshot of ongoing adjustment, frozen only for an instant before drifting again. The intelligence expressed through this shape is quiet because it does not announce itself. It is not stored in rules or plans. It is embodied in proportions, distances, densities, in how many connections converge here, how few persist there, in how easily flow changes direction when necessary. Nothing in the network knows the whole pattern. Each part participates blindly, responding to immediate constraints, and yet the whole acquires form, a form that supports circulation, adaptation, and persistence without ever becoming fixed. This is the shape of quiet intelligence, not a diagram, not a design, but a living topology that breathes, branches, and rearranges itself endlessly, sustaining the forest not by holding still, but by remaining gently, continuously in motion. Because this topology is never fixed, it remains sensitive to time in a way rigid systems cannot be. Paths that matter now may fade later. Hubs that once carried most of the flow may slowly loosen as conditions shift. Nothing is permanent, yet nothing is lost abruptly. Change arrives as drift, not rupture. As trees age and eventually fall, their role in the network does not end instantly. Roots decay slowly, releasing space and nutrients back into the soil. Fungal pathways that once converged there thin out, redirecting flow elsewhere. Nearby hubs may strengthen in response, absorbing connections that have lost their anchor. The geometry rearranges itself, preserving continuity while altering form. New growth enters, this existing pattern without needing to reshape it entirely. Seedlings connect lightly at first, attaching to peripheral threads that carry minimal load. Over time, if conditions persist, these connections thicken. What was once peripheral may slowly approach the density of a hub. The transition is gradual, almost imperceptible, unfolding over many seasons. This slow turnover gives the forest a sense of continuity that exceeds the lifespan of any individual. The shape of the network changes, but not all at once. Layers overlap. Old roots remain faintly present beneath new ones, like echoes. The forest remembers not through records, but through persistence of form. Even disturbances that dramatically alter the surface leave the deeper topology only partially disrupted. Fire, wind, or clearing may remove visible structure, but our underground patterns often survive in fragments. These fragments guide regrowth, influencing where connections reform, where hubs re-emerge, where branching resumes. The new forest inherits the geometry of the old, softened and altered, but still present. In this way, topology acts as a quiet constraint on possibility. It does not dictate outcomes, but it biases them. Growth is more likely where connections already exist. Flow prefers familiar routes, even as it explores new ones. The forest's future is shaped not by intention, but by the residual shape of its past. The absence of rigidity is what allows this inheritance to remain flexible. If the network were fixed, it would trap the forest in outdated forms. Instead, looseness allows adaptation. Patterns guide without enforcing. Structure suggests without commanding. This balance between persistence and change is what gives the network its intelligence. Not intelligence as problem solving, but as fit, a continuous alignment between structure and environment that never settles completely. The forest does not seek optimal form. It maintains workable form, adjusting it as conditions drift. Listening to this process feels like listening to music without melody. There is rhythm, but no refrain. Themes return, altered by context. Variation replaces repetition. The coherence lies not in exactness, but in relation. How one movement responds to another, how silence shapes sound. So too with the forest. Its topology is a score written in roots and filaments, played slowly over years. No single note defines it. No moment contains the whole. Meaning emerges only through duration. By the time a pattern becomes visible to an observer, it has already been forming for a long time. And even then, it is already changing. The shape you see is only a pause in motion, a brief alignment before drift resumes. This is why the forest's intelligence feels distant and gentle. It does not confront. It does not declare. It reveals itself only to patience, to those willing to notice form without expecting explanation. In the end, the network has no final shape. It has tendencies. It has proportions. It has recurring motifs. But it never arrives. It only continues, breathing through its branches, flowing through its threads, sustaining the forest by remaining open to change. Not rigid, not random, but softly structured. This is the shape of quiet intelligence, a living geometry that holds together not by force, but by balance, repetition, and time. As our journey slows, There's nothing left to understand, nothing left to hold on to. The forest doesn't ask to be interpreted. It doesn't need to be named, measured, or followed to be real. Beneath the quiet surface, roots settle deeper into the soil. Connections soften, not disappearing, just drifting beyond attention. The network does not stop. It simply moves more gently, like a breath taken in the dark. While you rest, carbon still finds its way through hidden paths. Water lingers where it's needed. Threads adjust, rearrange, and wait. No tree is watching over the others. No signal is sent. And yet, the whole continues, balanced by motion you'll never see. You don't need to stay awake for this. The forest has been doing it far longer than anyone has listened. It will keep flowing without witnesses, without language, without concern for whether it is noticed. As your thoughts grow lighter, imagine the network fading from view, not gone, just resting beneath layers of earth and time, a vast living presence, settling into itself, thinking quietly, slowly. The forest does not fall asleep. It simply thinks, more slowly. Good night.